All right, 5:05, I'll open the meeting.
Yep.
On this, from Stonkus Hydraulic.
All right, so we're having the Station 4 switched over to variable frequency drives, and I've been waiting, and I held off on rehabilitating the Parco valve. But the Parco valve was failing, but we were holding off, but it just started failing completely. So I had to have them come in and rebuild it so that we could continue.
I thought we don't fix those?
No, there's no schematics. It's like it's kind of voodoo magic. There's one light that comes on and says, "Guess what? I'm off."
Yeah, basically it's called Brian Stonkus.
Yeah. So this is the last unit, and I held off. So I asked them about bidding the thing out, Tatter and Howard, and they said that they didn't want to because it would make the bid package smaller, and they were afraid they wouldn't get enough bidders then.
About adjustment to the
I'm just looking at this, and to do the job was $540, travel hours was $270,
Yeah, they come from Bellingham.
and then mileage at $120.
Yeah, he comes from Bellingham. This is the last unit we have.
That was $390 from the drive hearing.
Yeah,
Would they come in an 18-wheeler?
No, well, he has a fancy new van. I commented on that because he used to drive in this ratty old van. But trust me, they come out and they don't leave until the thing's working again. They're
Right.
actually really good. But this is
And
the
then-
last unit, and then we have two that we have to cut out of this.
And then I think Art's got the other one I was gonna question, but we got two
bills. from
bell
Page
door
Power.
something. Were they motors or?
Oh yeah, so I had one rebuilt. That's the Myox units. I told you several meetings back.
Yeah.
We have 3 redundant Myox motors, so one burnt out, so all right, no problem, switch over. No, they were all seized from sitting there in the corrosion of the unit. So I bought one, I sent one out, and I might have actually bought another so that we have.
But we returned one.
Yes, I did return one, and it cost us because it came, so when I pulled the unit apart and I ordered one, it came without the thermal overload. I had no idea what the thermal, it's just 2 wires that come out of the unit, kind of rinky-dink. I'm not sure why they don't get wrapped up in the armature itself and broke off, but it's kind of added on after the fact. So I asked our instrumentation guy, he couldn't tell me. I asked the electricians, they couldn't tell me what it was, but eventually when they pulled it apart, I just went and ripped one apart with Kenny to say, all right, what the hell is this thing? Because it's not coming with the new units. So I kept one, and lack of better words, I Mickey Moused it together so we could be up and running. I ripped one out of the bad unit and put it into the.
So why did we buy 2 and then return one? That's what I was.
Because they were supposed to come with the thermal overload, but they didn't. And you have to order them from the factory with it, so they wouldn't retrofit them. So I couldn't use the other one except Mickey Mousing it later on. So I didn't see any sense in hanging on to it if it wasn't gonna.
And then do you have a question on when they charge us a restock charge? $150?
They told me before I sent it back that there was gonna, it was a substantial restock fee also.
Yeah, $150.
Yeah. I think.
Whatever, it is what it
So
is.
next time you know.
Right, now I know that you have to request, it's not in the nameplate at all, that thermal overload.
Yeah.
And it's in small writing on the plates, but after the plates have been sitting there in corrosion,
You can't.
you don't read it anymore.
Yep.
So now we know that when you order them, they won't come with it unless you specifically
That's
ask.
the first time we've had to replace
Right,
those.
and Baldor themselves, I think, are doing away with the thermal overloads. So, and when I tried to wire around the thermal load, which is basically a normally open or a normally closed circuit, I couldn't get the thing to run, and I could see arcing from the wire, so I'm like, all right, I'm gonna put it in, and then when I have the instrumentation guy out, we'll back check it into the panel. I didn't want to burn out any instrumentation in the PLC panels, because that can get really costly.
That's probably a good idea.
Did you read the minutes?
Yeah, well said.
Well said.
I'll make a
Minutes.
motion to accept the minutes.
I'll second it. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Oh, that's one of these.
No refunds, Carrie?
Mm-mm.
Probably can't afford to give any money back anyway.
Mm.
Hasn't been hot and dry.
It's funny, the hottest summer on record, and it's the worst summer on record for us for water production.
This is the hottest on record?
Yeah,
It is?
yeah, the July was the hottest summer on record.
Really?
It has to be the wettest one too.
Yep,
Wettest I can see.
So nobody used any water.
right.
Alright, so Peter Maroney's up next.
Okay. We have a customer up on Pleasant Street, Draper Metals, that wants to put a sprinkler line in for the
Alright, to
building.
his existing
The
building?
existing building, and I
Alright.
can get that in now. So I figured we'd come up and see what we need to do to.
So basically, it's just a matter of paying, I didn't have time because I had some things happen, but you
Yeah.
really didn't even need to come to the meeting, it's just, you
Right.
tell us what you're gonna do and then they pay the fees.
Yeah, okay.
And he already has, he's not gonna do away with his existing service, correct?
Well, no, we're just gonna probably relocate it.
Okay.
So we're gonna put a 6-inch line.
Let me just, so usually when we do them
Yeah,
and they run in the sprinkler line,
yeah,
we tap the domestic off of the sprinkler line so
Yes.
that the two are close together.
Yeah.
We do redundant gates, one out at the main
yeah.
and then one inside so they can work on the sprinkler line and the domestic stays live while they're doing
Yes,
it.
Yeah. So we'd run a new 6-inch line from the 12-inch main. Is there a 12-inch main there?
Yeah, I believe it's out in Old West Center Street. The thing did a freaking update, so I can't get it to.
Oh, you're coming in off Old West Center, not off
No,
of
we're
Pleasant?
gonna come in off of Pleasant Street.
Oh, it's coming in that way? Yeah, there is a 12-inch, yeah, because it runs down to,
Is
as
there
far
one in
as,
Old Pleasant Street?
yeah,
I mean Old West Center?
it's tapped off of there. I can't get the thing to, because it did,
Doesn't wanna come up.
it did a giant update on me. Oh, there it is.
That's why I figured I'd come to meet and see what we're gonna do. I mean,
Alright,
it would
so
be nice to come off of Old West Center Street.
Old West Center is
Be a shorter road.
it's,
Well, you wouldn't have to get into there's new,
alright.
that new pavement.
If I can get I've got this circle of, I can see the picture. So on Old West Center is an 8-inch AC and a 4-inch cast iron. On Pleasant Street is a 6-inch cast iron, but I know there's transite there.
Yeah, Rick thought there was a 12-inch transite.
I know there's one, yes, yeah, alright, so there's a 12-inch AC and it's on that side of the street.
It's on that side.
Yep.
Is it off the pavement?
It's on the edge, cause I know it broke once,
Yeah.
the contractor hit it. So it's like right on, if it's not off, it's right on the edge.
Yeah, because I think we still would have to get into the road
Yeah, you might break into the road by
Yeah,
about 2
behind it.
feet.
by about 2 feet, yeah. So Rick thought we should dig down first.
Yeah, because in this town, the AC, it can be undersized,
Yeah.
oversized. We find a lot of oversized.
Yeah. So dig down and find that first and see what I need to get for that
Yeah.
T that we're gonna put on there, right?
Do we have a spec list we can give them of what we're using, Wayne? Like it's ductile iron, what saddle?
Yeah,
We're using ductile
What
iron?
hydrant?
yeah, we switched over because, the transite and the plastic, you can't hear sound transmissions when we have leaks.
Okay.
So, we have 17 miles of transite and we have, I don't know how many miles of plastic. And,
So we're gonna do 6-inch ductile iron going into the,
yep,
okay. Alright. I think that's it, so it's just a matter of getting a, probably road opening permit. For
Yeah.
that, right?
Yep.
Highway
and
department.
that comes from the highway and they're
Yeah.
probably gonna want you to infrared, so they'll,
Yeah, that's fine. Okay, I think that's it. Anything else? Yeah, I talked to Rick about the 2 stops there. The 2,
They have a thrust block on the back side.
on the back of the
And
fire hydrant,
Yeah.
yeah, 'cause we're gonna put a fire hydrant at the end of that.
On the back side.
alright,
so we
yeah,
can flush
so,
it, so you can flush that line out.
yeah, that helps, cause nobody usually does that. We don't usually go into private property.
And they don't use any water either. They
No.
don't use much.
I mean, there'd be no other way to flush it unless you put a hydrant on there, right?
Yeah, we don't even show his, service line going in. Cause that's him number 28, correct?
That is
Yeah.
him, number
I
28.
can't get rid of that warranty thing. Gives me the circle of death when I get over there. I can do anything else.
He called it number 22, but that's not right.
Yeah, cause 22 is the building out front. Even that doesn't want to come up.
Where's the water service go in that 28, Peter?
I don't
You know?
I'm not sure.
Alright, I show what it, yeah, I don't show him at all.
Probably comes out of another building somewhere.
Probably comes
Get
out.
over
Oh,
there,
no,
gives
he's
me
in-
the
no,
blue
no.
circle.
That's
on a
well?
Oh, he's on a
Comes
well?
on a well there, yeah.
Alright, so then, is he switching over to having town water then?
Yes.
Alright, so the,
Oh, yeah, so he doesn't have a connection now, yeah.
Right.
Well, yeah. So he's gonna have to pay for that.
so, I mean, if
Okay.
he's under, if his square footage is under 15,000 square feet, it's 9,000 for the sprinkler line. If he's just a 1 inch, it's, you're gonna tap it, so it's just $400 for the meter.
Okay. So 9,400 would be his
Yeah.
fee. Okay. So I'll have him come pay that then.
And how
I
many
spoke
square
too
feet
fast.
was
He also has to pay the, gotta get all the money here. There's another 34.43 for the, tie-in for the domestic, yeah.
Domestic, yeah.
Well, so it's actually 38 when you include the meter.
Okay. All right.
But you can do all your prepping in advance. And yeah,
I'll need to dig down and find that.
yeah, you're gonna wanna, wherever you're gonna go, you wanna dig down and find it first.
Yeah.
I mean, you've been doing it long enough, you know that it looks just like clay when you find
Oh,
it,
yeah.
so.
In Old West Center, we decided we didn't want to come off of Old West Center.
So that has an 8-inch AC out there.
Are we better off coming off of that?
So it's your length of run, only you'll know in the properties in between, because it's behind how he'd get there. And your shortest run, most like, and I don't know, that looks like it's all one big thing.
It's
You know, all of the
it's just one,
buildings?
it's one big piece of property, yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, I'll have to see which way they wanna come in.
And you're gonna deal with the other line. Are there other water lines coming in off of Old Pleasant?
yeah,
I mean, Old
to the
West Center?
office building, yeah,
That's where all the other lines come in?
yeah.
How many lines come in there? It looks like 2 or 3.
Well, there's one coming into 652, and then there's one coming into 22.
Yeah, definitely looks like it'd be a shorter run.
Looks like 22 comes in
Oh,
off of
Pleasant
Pleasant Street.
Yeah.
Yeah, it does.
What comes in off of Old West Center now?
Just the one that goes to 652. I don't, the other one is the dog vet out front, and then there's a couple of houses up there.
So all those lines are tie distances then?
Yeah, yeah, what you see, yeah, those are the,
I thought they were gonna put another building where it says Old 60.
yeah, I mean, that's an open
652.
lot. I don't know who owns that or what they're doing.
Is he better off if he had to put a sprinkler system in 652, come off the 8-inch and then?
Yeah,
leave
if that's
it-
his, if he thought in the future, yeah,
leave
because
a
then,
stub there, you know what I mean, and then you'd be on your own.
Come off the
property
same
again.
tap?
Yeah.
right.
Can you feed more than, how many buildings can you feed off that 6-inch with a sprinkler line?
So that's up to, so they do that by deluge, you know, mass thing, I believe that the, all the heads shoot off at once and then the volume that they can get, so they may not allow 2.
Yeah, the
Although I
fuel
know the
tests, yeah.
place on Manley Street did it, they ran in one,
Well, if they're looking at 2 separate buildings, though, they do the deluge off both buildings.
right, only one will go off on a time, right,
Just
Oh.
run one 6-inch line, and then I could leave a T there.
right.
Then you wouldn't get into a tap again on the.
But they don't know what that building's gonna be yet, probably, right?
No, I think they might. I thought
It's
they
been-
had it.
Yeah, he's had it empty for a while.
Yeah, I'll find out. I mean, it might be better off like that than trying to do, you know, come back in a year and do another tap.
Right, but if you go for the, if you tap off of the 8-inch AC there, you have to cross probably under the 4-inch.
Go into the 4-inch.
Yeah, you'd have to duck under it coming by.
Mm.
Where's the AC? Oh, on the other side of the road?
Yeah, it's on the other side,
Oh.
where that one is, it's right there, it's sitting in front of it. I
Oh,
can,
yeah, okay. So the green line is a 12-inch, that's what we're looking at there.
alright, I forgot, I don't have a mouse.
So they did bring a 6-inch into number 22. Cause that house has sprinkler.
Yeah, there's
I'm
a
sure
gate.
that's got sprinkler.
Oh, yeah, there is a, yeah, they did.
It's too bad they hadn't,
Yeah,
thought in the future. And then they could have fed both buildings off one 6-inch.
If you can, there must be plenty of flow up there, huh?
Not that 12-inch.
yeah, there's,
Oh,
that's a, yeah, there's plenty
Plenty
of
of
flow.
water right
When we
there.
blow a hydrant off of that line, it's,
Okay, I'll let them figure it out. And they can,
yeah, there's no problems tying in, we're
No
not,
problem tying
we're
in.
never gonna say no to a customer.
yeah, that's fine. Okay. That gives me a little more information.
I mean, if he wants to put a little condo complex in there with a couple of hundred ones with their own things,
Yeah.
we're for it.
Wait, remember, you're on camera.
Yeah. Okay. All right, that's it. Thanks, guys.
Yeah, thank you.
Ladies. Appreciate it.
Have a good night.
Have a good night. See you.
See if it- All right, that's it. That's it for new business. Old business, water rate and revenue.
The bad news is,
We're, well, we'll know better when she does the next commitment, but by, our production line is under the year that we didn't make any money, 2019. And it started out above as we came into this year, but the minute we hit towards the end of June, went into July and August, we stayed well under the 2019 production line. And this month hasn't been much better, so it'll be close.
What are we pumping a day now?
We can swing, if we get a couple of days of sunshine, then we swing up to about 700. But for the most part, we're hanging in the fives if I can get this thing.
So we haven't even had 1 million gallon a day.
No, we never, no.
What
No.
do we used to? We used to get up to 1.2 million at one point.
Yeah, our average summers would be 1.2 million.
People have really cut back on the sprinklers.
well, but it's been so wet besides. I mean,
Yeah,
there's no
we've
real
had a
reason-
lot of rainy things. It's not, it hasn't helped us any, but.
Well, it's because of the weather.
You got, so Tatter and Howard, I'm probably jumping ahead, but Tatter and Howard is working on the rate study portion of it, but they also have to forecast out, you're looking at, a couple of projects that are big dollars. So when they do that, it's gonna come back at us. We're not generating any free cash right now for those projects, so it's gonna hit harder. And Mass DEP's, and actually DEP period everywhere, their ideology is drive the rates up so high that nobody will use water except to flush their toilet and barely brush your teeth. That's their thought track. You make it so expensive they won't use it.
So they're helping us do that.
Oh yeah, they're not, this PFAS thing is gonna, as soon as October, they've already sent out letter notices for all the towns must sample. That's,
So now all the towns that haven't sampled it.
right.
And that's gonna really.
Yeah, and a
start.
lot of them pushed it off because they know. And I know a lot of towns have sent out the letters, like Brockton has, Easton has. I think Raynham did also, like, everybody's failing the PFAS in the
Did
area.
Brockton fail?
Yeah, because I know a letter went out. So they must have failed on one of their, they failed on something.
On a well or something, right?
Yeah.
I wonder how, so the desal plant must be okay though, right? No?
Yeah, but they're not running that. That just stays up to waste. They're running that to waste. They're not using
100%?
it. Yeah.
It's too expensive.
They have
No,
to
they
be,
have to run it though, I mean.
They
Right.
have to run it, they have to
Right.
pay for that much, but it's still cheaper for them to use
Dump
the other water and dump
Right.
that water.
yep.
It may not be though when it comes to PFAS, is what I'm saying.
Yeah, depends on what they have to do.
Yeah, I mean, they have treatment plants for a lot of was it Silver Lake or something? I know it's transmitted
Yeah,
across
Silver
many
Lake's their
towns.
main one, but
Yeah.
I think they have something over in Avon too.
Yeah,
Groundwater source over there that they treat.
yeah. So it's not, and like most of our recharge areas are out towards Brockton. So Manley Street where we're high on PFAS, that's out towards, it's in the Route 24 corridor up towards 27. And then another one goes out this way towards the industrial park.
Hey, back on the rates again, Vic. So our production's down, but our rates are up from where they were when we
Yeah.
missed. So
Yeah,
we have any kind of idea how much extra that's bringing in? Probably not a ton because we're not doing any excess.
Right, I'm trying to get it, but the thing is,
It's not cooperating.
no.
Yeah, the green bars of death. Something just came up. And does Tata and Howard have an idea on when they're gonna have some
I believe it would be this week or next week.
Okay. So before the next meeting, we should have.
Oh, the committee did get there.
What do you need?
No, it didn't, my file, but I know it was flat, we're like skimming along. I think we'll make it, you know, I'll hold back my spending and watch as we go through, cause this quarter is our other quarter for generating money, then after that, we go flat. You know, it's consistently like around $450,000 a quarter after that.
So we need a real quick hot, dry spell.
Yeah, which, I mean, it could happen, you never know, I mean, we've gone one before, going through September. We've never gone cold, and,
But even you do through what, you know, you're talking about keeping the spending part down, but how about like where we got caught the last time?
right,
Where you kept the spending down, so we didn't actually spend it, but we didn't make the budget.
right. So
Think
this
we're
time,
gonna
I
be
know
borderline to that.
enough in advance that I won't rehab any wells, and that can account, I said, I think you know, in the notes, I've got 2 wells that have bad pitless adapters, that's gonna be a significant sum of money on top of rehabbing a well.
What's the matter, they leaking? Or
Yeah, they're leaking, and they really.
every time the pump comes on, they're leaking water?
Yeah, you can, like, station 2, you can hear it, there's a steady stream out of that one, and they've tried reseeding it, you know, they put new gaskets in, they filed, they've done everything, but basically, you know, they've lived their life. They can't get it to stop leaking.
What's it cost us to change a pitless?
So that one I don't know, but I wanna say that's between 10 and 20 grand, cause you have to cut the thing off down into the ground. And then, you know, they order them. We'll know when they do this one, although this one's a smaller case compared to the other wells, they're bigger cases.
Okay, anything else on the stations, actually water rate and revenue?
No,
I
no,
guess we
that's,
just have to wait and see on that.
yeah, that's a wait and see, and, you know, I'll hold, if I look like I have money coming through after we get past January, then I'll try to do a few things. My main thrust is just to keep us going, and I'll try to finish up the, Matfield Woods meter pit. You know, we've had the 2 taps are in now, we've repaved the roadway, we just have to fix the sidewalk, and then we're all off into the dirt after that.
Yeah, cause that was when you said you had so much water in there.
No, that was, the last one was a disaster, it was like,
Yeah.
the banking, so we had to like excavate huge in order to be in there.
For this time of year, it is really wet, the water
Yeah.
is really up there, it's, you very rarely see it this
Yeah,
wet this
it
time
was
of year.
like liquefaction with the dirt, it just, so we had to take it out wide enough, because if you use a trench box, you dig the hole for the trench box, but we couldn't, it collapsed so far out, we couldn't use one. So we had to dig it out far enough to be safe.
Alright, stations 1, 2, 3, and 4.
So they've done requests for informations, and I've, you know, responded to them. I think I have to respond for stations 1, 2, and 4. But Manley Street, because that's the key one we want to flip over faster, I got them back their information that they needed right away on that one. But basically it's request for information at this point. They're trying to line up for the pilot study to occur and get him in here, because just like we know what's gonna happen, once all the other towns fail,
Yeah.
this guy's gonna be in demand everywhere. They were hoping to do when they did the pilot study here, that they could combine the flows, but Station 2 is so far off the beaten track, but we won't be able to combine 1 and 4 with it.
So they're gonna do one and
1 and 4
four
will be,
together and
yeah,
then move over and do 2?
yeah,
So combine 1 and 4,
yeah, just for the pilot study.
which is Norman,
So 1 and 4 is right, they're both right here on this
they're
site.
both right here.
Yeah.
What's Norman now, is that 4?
That's 2.
That's 2.
Yeah, Manley Street's 3.
Right.
Yeah.
I get these.
Yeah, it's not, if you go by the well numbers, it's even worse.
Update on replacement well, probably nothing going on there.
So they sent out,
Did we ever find out what it produces?
It's pretty much exactly what the other well was. It wasn't, they claimed, I sent that back to them and they claimed it produced a little more. I think it's pretty much about the same.
So what, 350?
Yeah, somewhere around that.
Well, I thought we were gonna end up with something producing
Yeah,
500.
it did not. So the sands are finer. Alright, so they sent out to, so DEP, it's in DEP's lap right now. They sent out the pump test report and the request for approval to construct a source, which is the pitless adapter and everything going in.
So we're basically just waiting on DEP.
Right.
to make-
And they're still working from home, so.
DEP still working?
Yeah, well, it was all of why I was in Washington DC and they're all working from home. It was actually great because you could use the subway and nobody was on it.
New water source, that's funded, tabled, so there's
Yeah.
nothing
Right.
gonna happen there right away. Asset management grant,
That's on the rate study, and so we've gotten our refund back and it's been put back into the article instead of into our general fund, so at town meeting we'll have to transfer that out and put it towards something else. I kept telling them that it should go into the general fund, and for some reason they decided that it should go back into the article, I don't know why.
How much did we get back?
I don't wanna guess. I wanna say it was about 30-something thousand. And I believe it was like a $70,000 thing, but it's somewhere in there, I haven't seen that number in a bit.
okay. Main office generator,
So the exhaust, we're waiting on the exhaust cracked. So
manifold or
what? No, it was, there's a flex pipe, I don't know
Oh,
why
so
they
that's
did this, but they came up, flexed like a big U and then went up. So it just cracked, so before the last storm, like more than a month ago, whichever one was coming in, Tom and Kenny went and they bought, Tom the town mechanic and Kenny, went and they got a clamp, and so they clamped the thing together, because other than that it was basically running open exhaust into the building, which was fine when it was running, but after it ran, there was like it off gas, the gas smell in it permeated the building, something fierce. So right now it's together and
so who's
running.
gonna fix it?
So eventually South Shore Generator will replace the piece between the two pieces. They're gonna
It's
order,
just, that's not
But they're
something
waiting
town,
for the part.
right, it's a special order part.
it's a special part for that?
Yeah, or that they have to order it to get it in.
Okay.
In the meantime, the Manley Street generator is down for so we had the water pump replaced, well, it must have sprayed the fan clutch. So it's overheating currently, so it's offline because the fan clutch is not operating. So it's like a never ending, once the thing goes wrong, it's never ending.
So that they get new fan clutch for that?
Yeah, so I've ordered those parts, or approved the work, cause it's no good if it's not running.
And the one here now is running?
Yep.
It's just,
Yeah, so we have those.
so we have no issues with it, other
Right.
than it needs
Yeah. So if we have to have a station, if we have to have water during power, extended power outage, we have it.
Okay.
Walnut Street tank,
No, well, they're getting ready to put grass in, and it's all done. It's just a matter, if I make it pass, it's not gonna pass until we figure out a way to get it to fill and drain. Because the water stays stagnant. If you only use 18 inches of water, then it's just gonna fail.
is it offline now?
Yes, it is.
Yeah, still.
Right.
What are we waiting for on that?
So the article got signed, but for the engineering portion of it, but we don't have any funding for it.
Yeah, because maybe with Tater and Howard, we set it up for the altitude valve vault, for the other tanks, so we can force these to run, but we have to wait until we come up with more money for it.
So we did decide to do the altitude, I thought it
Well,
was
they
still
haven't, they
engineering.
still wanna do more engineering before they say altitude valves,
Aren't we
but
still in engineering on that?
yes, we're still in engineering, they haven't said, ultimately, they know it's gonna be 2 altitude valves.
I mean, there's the only, other than shutting everything off and
Right.
waiting for the tanks to drop 10, 15 feet and
Yeah.
turning everything on every day.
Right.
Is that common, should we need those altitude valves? I mean, if
When
they,
your system's laid out like this, you do, and we had to do
no
that.
matter what. we
Yeah,
would-
because the water's, Spring Street tanks are gonna take that water first, and
Right.
you're never gonna fill.
But once
this
they
tank.
get to height, shouldn't it, I'm
But
just
once,
wondering if.
once they get to height, the other one will fill up if they stay, but they're never gonna stay, they're just gonna overflow.
Right.
Oh,
So-
they are?
So you're gonna, yeah, you
Yeah.
keep pumping, it's just gonna overflow out of Spring Street, you'll never get it full at Walnut Street. So they need altitude.
So why
valves.
didn't, how come, who was the engineer we used before then?
Stantec,
Stan, why didn't Stantec design it?
they should have,
I was wondering if
That's-
they're off on
that-
elevations.
That's actually more common than you thought. I did a bunch of different towns where you'd go in, somebody's tank wasn't working, and that was it. Either it didn't have a big enough pipe to feed the tank in the first place, and that doesn't seem to be our problem up
Right.
here. Or, yeah, they have multiple tanks and it's just system
So
doesn't
they
balance.
just, you build it and you see what it does?
Well, they should look at it first, but like I said, it wasn't all that uncommon. You know, we used to catch that quite a bit.
So all it does is the altitude valve shuts off at Spring
Altitude
Street?
valve shuts off when the Spring Street tanks would get just below full.
Yeah.
And that way the water bypasses, goes up until you fill Walnut Street, then you shut everything off. And then everything floats down at the same time, they automatically open. But,
And so we should be using more volume of water, because we never filled, the problem is we don't fill.
we've got a lot of storage for when we're not pumping a lot of water.
right, we have 5.5 million gallons of water. We actually have too much water in storage because we just failed our last month's coliform tests. Because the North Elm Street tank, we don't use enough, because we run off of the system, so we're only using 6 feet of it, and before the system kicks in. So once the system kicks in, now you're running off the system and filling the tank, so you've got 4.25 million gallons of water
It never
sitting
gets
there
used.
that never gets used.
That's
It gets
the
mixed
that's the
around,
problem
but.
with the big old standpipes like
Right,
that.
and
That's
we
why they
can't-
went for the other kind.
And if I chlorinate, then you create DSP disinfection byproducts, which is carcinogens, so we don't do that, so we don't run our chlorine up my tank.
And we got the 500,000 gallon tank.
Right, so the 500,000 gallon tank is good because it's smaller,
Right.
but volume wise, the beauty of the 5 million is if we had power outage, everything was wiped out,
There's a lot of storage.
you've got a day worth of run out of it.
Could you drop that a few more feet before you turn the pumps back on, or you start to see the pressures get down too low up near the tank?
You have to come down to almost like 70 feet. So I can experiment. Like this summer hasn't been bad, but if I let it get down too far, then the pumps run flat out trying to catch up with the demand. But this summer was completely different.
Because that's the only other way to force the turnover,
Right.
is just don't start the pumps in.
Yeah, and
Now we got something in this stern now that was never there too.
yeah, there's the Tide Flex mixers.
Yeah, Tide Flex.
Yeah, they're like duckbills. They just open up and
Oh,
spray.
it's
it.
just when, so there was, I thought there was something that would add.
No, there's no static mixer inside. It's when the water goes into it, it sprays out and stirs it about.
Helps,
So,
that's how it stirs.
Yeah.
Right.
We added that one,
but if you add, slowly drip hot coffee into cold coffee, it's never gonna get hot. You can't. The volume there is too great.
have we noticed a difference since we put the duck bills in there?
Yeah, that's what started making us fail the coliform tests in the summertime.
So it made it worse.
Oh yeah, it's much worse
Right, 'cause
for us.
before you were just taking the stuff out of the bottom of the tank. So
Right.
you're probably only seeing the bottom 10 feet.
Right, you
Now it's
literally
mixing
see
with all the
15
other stuff.
feet of sweat on the tank. The rest would never sweat because you weren't touching it.
So why did we do that then?
The DEP forces you to do these things that cost us tons of money to fix.
Because you're supposed to be turning the water over, you're not supposed
I
to.
thought it was gonna help us.
No, man, no. And I can't chlorinate. It just creates another mess. The DEP just keeps creating more messes for us to fix, so.
The problem though, is like when he said, if you lose power, now you take a lot down out of that tank. If you haven't been stirring that up and now you've got a real mess in there
Not
that
really.
you're dumping back out into the system.
Right.
It's not like that water's not staying clean, it's just you were only taking that bottom,
Right,
flushing back and forth. But yeah, like you said, if we start putting enough chlorine to take that kind of water, you're gonna have disinfectant
Yeah,
byproduct.
and I'm not gonna, and we don't even come close. Some towns fail all the time.
Yeah.
So Walnut Street tank, what do we foresee there?
So we foresee 2 altitude valves going into the,
Even though,
At the other tanks, not at Walnut.
right,
that's the only fix.
and so they haven't determined that yet, what, are they working on this, or what are we doing to get this back on?
So we signed the engineering, but it's unfunded. So we have a town meeting and take some, little free, I think we're down to $100,000 in free cash, and whatever, we probably generated very minimal
We
last
just got
year
we just
too.
got about 30 grand back.
Yeah.
So what is the engineering
That'll
cost?
actually fund it.
Yeah,
Do you
that's
remember
what I
what
was
the
thinking.
engineering cost was on that? And then what's the
I know we got it brought down, I don't remember what it ended up at.
Yeah, we did drive it down. So it's, by section 2, let me just make sure there's not another section added. 16,100.
Yeah.
Was the engineering?
Yeah.
What do we project the cost of installation to be?
If I remember when Patrick did it, but that was putting in UVs and other things, it was
Putting
like,
in UVs and putting them in buildings and.
it was like $700,000, but I think we can come in a lot under that. Because the UVs are a great thing, but they don't work, they don't create a residual. I have 8 samples out in the system I have to pull, so if I don't have a chlorine residual out there, I can't pass my monthly coliform tests.
So we don't see this tank coming back online anytime soon.
No. So last year, because it was chock full, we heated the belly of the tank because it hits up to it, because the last thing I want is to have a frozen block of ice split a $4 million tank. So we
So
heated
it's
it.
actually empty now.
And no, it has water in it. I'm afraid to leave it sitting, I don't wanna leave it empty and I don't wanna leave it full, so we heat the belly of the tank to keep anything from going wrong, because it's not insulated, the belly is sitting there uninsulated. So we have torpedo heaters that we use up there.
Well, now we have the ability to take water out of
Right,
that waste and put some fresh water back
Yeah.
in to get.
So we are flushing it, keeping it,
Yeah, so if we have a dire winter, that's what we'll begin doing.
Yeah.
running water in, running water
Yeah.
out.
Yeah, we'll just begin wasting it, and I can account for that. I'm allowed to write that off of my account for water.
Yeah, you don't want a block of ice up inside.
No.
All right, next is the vacant principal clerk.
I'll come back.
Carrie, did that get advertised?
She was supposed to get back to me, she told me she's gonna get back to me last week, but I'm not sure if it's because of the holiday, I don't know if she was out or not, I haven't heard from her.
Okay, because that's where it had been left. 'Cause
Yes.
basically, that was gonna go out through there and.
Yeah, she was gonna, call me and I haven't heard from her. So hopefully, if I don't hear from her by tomorrow, I'll call her Thursday to see, so. I know she's been busy because I called her on something else and I hadn't heard from her, so I don't know if she was out the last couple days or Friday or something like that, cause like I said, I.
Oh, yeah, around the holiday, we take
Yeah,
time off.
so I'll call her Thursday. And, when we post for it, is it just like, what step are we doing, just as part-time, step 1, like, is that what we're doing, or?
That's what I thought we had
That's
talked
what I
about.
thought, but I don't
Okay.
know.
So that one's gonna be nothing special, just straight up
Part-time. step
part-time first step.
1. Okay, perfect.
Now, have we heard anything on the other contract? Did she ever make that offer? When
Yeah, I know they were going back and forth, and she came in to get, a map on Friday, and, like, she accepted, but she hasn't heard from her, so she
Yeah,
hasn't
hasn't
signed.
heard back from
She
Linda?
hasn't heard back from Linda, yeah, and she
Alright.
left a message, I think, Wednesday, Thursday.
Oh, I thought that was all finalized by now, no?
Last I had heard, they were still trying to get it final. But I didn't know, that was a couple weeks ago, so I don't know where
Yeah.
it went.
I think it's final, Deb's just waiting to sign it, I know that.
So she's happy with what she's getting.
I mean, I think ultimately I guess, I think ultimately she wanted to be in this position, because there were other, because I think, Wayne was gonna, she was gonna take over some of the regulatory stuff, cause she does that for Chris and Sean,
John
Chris,
Brown.
yeah, over there. But she's, you know, she's happy to have a job.
Well, we're getting more of her hours now as this goes up too, so.
I think we're still down, we'll be down 2 hours, the way it's,
The last one, the first, whatever portion of the year, whatever it is, where we were arguing about whether or not she get the raise,
yeah,
that part, I don't think we pick up more hours, but after that, we pick up more of her time, because we're gonna have the budget.
oh
for
yeah,
her
definitely,
time.
I think,
So I mean, some of that can be used to do part regulatory as well as the G.
yeah.
Because that we can play with, whereas the
Right.
principal clerk part really,
So the
That was
final
one of the
phase, I
concerns.
think highway had her 21 hours and we got her 19, is that correct?
yes,
Yeah.
exactly.
that's in the end. But I
And I
don't think
believe
that
currently
starts
she would-
until next year.
When they increase her
July
hours
1st, yeah,
from 36 to 40, I think.
Yeah.
35 to 40?
Yeah,
But no, it's like, if you go through all that and then you don't hear anything.
well, that's what, that was what she was saying, she's like, you know, I left a message, we talked about it, and, you know, she hadn't heard back, so I think she was a little nervous, but I'm like, you know what, I told her, I said I left her a couple messages and I haven't heard, it's the holidays, so she might be out,
Yeah.
so.
And the summer vacation.
So I'll call her Thursday about that. To advertise for that.
All right.
And you want the same process as when we hired the labor? Like, you guys wanna see everything as they come in, or,
It's
cause
just,
I would like
it's
to
just
look
for
at
a
it
clerk,
myself.
it's a clerk who's gonna be reporting directly to you.
Yeah,
I don't care too much about seeing it like if it was, you know, a different type of position.
it's just a
I want you to see everything.
I would like to, so I wanna, if that's alright, if I.
They're gonna be working with them, you should see
Yeah.
all of them.
Okay.
And help pick
And then
find
just-
3 candidates or whatever.
Yeah, I mean, if you come down to like 3 and let us see them before you pick
Yeah,
the
definitely.
Yeah,
final.
and then we can see the final 3 or whatever.
Yeah,
Yep,
there's no point
We don't
in
need to
us,
see 200 of them again.
no,
right, okay, I'll call her
Definitely
Thursday if I don't hear from
Huh?
her tomorrow.
definitely not. But no, but most important, because you're gonna be the one dealing with the person.
Yep.
Now, Kerry, the union had a say in this last time, now what was the hour limit? Like, we had to hire them a minimum of, are they gonna make us go a certain minimum hours?
Yes,
So
20
what-
hours to carry.
So it's a
the-
minimum 20 hours?
Because when they're in the union at 20 hours, they can get the benefits,
Okay.
and that was the issue.
So we've gotta do minimum 20 hours?
Yeah,
And that's what we're looking to do, correct?
yeah.
Yeah.
That works.
Okay. Anybody got anything else, any other topics to discuss?
Actually, the one thing on, did we get new PFAS on Manley Street since the last meeting?
I have no idea, let me go find it.
19.2 was,
19.2 was, we knew it
yeah,
the
so
previous meeting.
I pulled the last one, we're just waiting on results for August. And I'm gonna sample, as soon as they give me the bottles, I've ordered them, I'll sample September too.
Okay.
So we're still running,
Yeah, we're staying
still
just
on-
under. Which, once you fail, you're available for grants. When you don't fail, they're feeding the towns that are failing.
I'd still rather be not failing.
Yeah.
And get ourselves at least to where we know what we need to do and then be in a holding pattern and wait,
Right.
than fail and have to deal with.
well, technically, we don't need to do anything.
No, we're kind of ahead of where we are. If it kept staying there and we were coming short on money, you'd say focus on the wells down here for the manganese,
Yeah.
rather than, you know, put focus there instead of Manly, if it stayed or if it went down. The problem is if it jumps back up, but at least we have everything underway.
What was the highest we had, Wayne?
I wanna say a 19.8 might have been the highest.
We never went
We never
over
went
the,
over, did we?
we never went
No.
over the 20 by the way they do the math.
Right.
Because we had that one that looked like it was over, but it wasn't to the significant figures.
Can't we go like to 20.5, if I
So
understand?
that's,
Yeah, we were 20.
we're like a 20.3 or something.
Yeah.
And that's not enough to be more
That's
than
not
20.
considered, isn't it like 20.5 and over?
Yeah, once you're at 20.5, then you're Yeah,
It is, right?
yeah,
Okay. And we're what, 19.2?
Yeah,
Yeah.
so we had that little spike and then it's.
yeah, when you average it out, we're in like the mid-19s.
So, just keep our fingers crossed.
Yeah,
Hopefully we could get these taken care of first and not have to put money out there.
so the only other thing was, the warehouse on Lincoln Street, this discussion only, the contractor had a kickoff meeting, they didn't follow any COVID protocols at this meeting. I mean, you had every town head in there, sort of the next 5 days, but somehow everybody seems okay, I haven't heard anything. So, the contractor kept saying, moratorium, and I was like, what the hell is he talking about? And he said it so many times, I didn't, and I was gonna look it up on my phone when they got around to the water line. So they wanna start running the water line right away, they wanna begin construction right away. So he's definitely spending money. But the town must have claimed a moratorium on the road, even though it was probably expiring or expired, so they wouldn't let him cut it up without repaving it.
Oh,
We're at
is
106?
No,
No, they're
Lincoln
coming in
Street.
off of Lincoln Street, right?
Right, so he was gonna come a good ways down Lincoln Street to the point where you guys probably could have negotiated with him to have him connect it all the way down to,
Can we still negotiate with them?
Well,
That's
you-
what Rick was talking about at the last
Right.
time we were in here.
well, I don't know whose bright idea was to claim a moratorium, but you just cost us about $750,000
What do
worth
you mean
of free
moratorium?
work.
We can't cut the road?
On opening the road.
Right, well, if he cuts the road, he has to repave the whole road. So what he did was where he would have come down probably to about here, he's way up there now when he comes in with it. It's,
So he's coming in at like that first.
Yep.
He's-
So we can't, do we have any say in it? We can't get them to run it down Lincoln Street?
so you have to get the town to release the moratorium on the road, and then you
Well,
might
with
get,
everybody in the same room, we can't talk about this sort of thing?
they don't seem to include us in anything or think that we count for anything.
Speak up.
Do we know who put the moratorium on? Was it Chris?
No, Chris,
Public Works, so.
no. Well, it was the DPW,
So Sean.
yeah.
How long
Whatever,
ago would it
everybody's-
have been paved?
I wanna say it must be at its 5-year mark. It has to be right there on the mark. And for the benefit that the town, as ratepayers and taxpayers, the benefit far exceeds the amount of money for,
This is the time to do it.
right. So I can send a letter, I didn't wanna speak, but I
Well,
can
you
send a
need to
letter to the
speak.
town manager and say, listen, you should be releasing the moratorium on that road. And
When you
then-
had everybody in the same room, that's the time to say something, Wayne.
Well, I wasn't sure what the hell had actually happened until I started, because he said it so many times, and I'm like, why does he keep talking? I was gonna look it up on my phone to see what moratorium meant. And I was still scratching my head when I left, but then when I realized what he had done and where he had come in with the new,
Here we go again. I mean, this is when we can get something. The whole
And
center of
that-
town
that's
got
how-
done.
I'm saying that's how many feet of pipe
a lot.
that we would be getting, and it's not.
And they're putting the pipe in anyway.
Right.
Yeah, it's not gonna save them on pipe, it's just gonna save them on the
They're
pavement.
gonna run it down the project on their property. This happened with the center of town. This whole center of town got done and none of the pipes got changed. We could've got that done.
I mean,
But basically, all we can do is see if the town manager's office can get that changed,
right.
so that that pipe can go, I mean, I'm assuming the guy would still then go down the road.
Well, so the
if
other thing is,
moratorium came off.
the rate structure for his size building doesn't exist. It's up to you guys to then figure out what you're gonna,
How much money do we need?
right. So,
Maybe we can work on that and get them to run it down Lincoln Street.
right, so then you'd have to get him to change his design, and he's finalizing designs to rerun it down to where he was gonna run it, and then extend the thing all the way down. Cause that's also one of our flag things out of our asset management, the pinch point that occurs, cause you're gonna have over 100 residents down there. Once that Scotland Street is filled out, it comes down South Elm. And that's
What size main comes down South Elm? Is it 12?
No, it's
But if
not.
anything happens to that, we lose
Right, you lose
service
the
down
service.
there.
Yeah, because it doesn't come down Pleasant Street, right? It stops?
Well, it comes down Pleasant, but it's a 4-inch,
Okay.
and it's an older 4-inch.
This is a key piece, and they're actually doing
Right.
something there. This is,
Yeah,
we need to get,
it's
we
8
need to
inches
work on that.
running down South Elm. That would have been a key thing to have.
What is it on South
It's
Elm?
8-inch running down South Elm.
so as soon as you kill South, so what continues on down Lincoln Street now? 4-inch?
Yeah, it's a 4-inch, and it's an older 4-inch.
So how do we do
Once
this?
you get all those houses down there, well, if what's killing him
It's
is
a
the
1912.
is the pavement moratorium, we gotta see if
Right.
the town will
Well,
take.
that's what made him
we'll
change
lift that.
and swing everything, he shortened it up. It's like he's going right in above.
Can you talk to Sean or Chris, or how do you wanna handle that? Are we
I'd
email
rather,
them?
I'd rather send a letter to the town manager and then,
Do we have an idea of what that much pipe would be worth to the town? Part of me wants to say you put it in to tell them, hey, this is why you should lift the moratorium.
I can
The other
look to
part
see
is
if it's in it's part of the package that I sent over for the federal funds. So I'll see if it's spelled out in there for an upgrade for that pipe. But we have to pay prevailing rate wage. We can't pay what this contractor can pay.
Right.
Well, no, that's what I mean, you tell the town, look, you're talking about costing us this much money.
We're
Right.
saving
By-
X number of hundreds of thousands of dollars to
Yeah.
get this thing
Try
in.
So you're
not
saving
lifting
hundreds
that.
of thousands.
And if that's, if it's because it's 6 months shy of the 5 years or something, that's
Right.
foolish.
Alright, so how, again, who are we gonna talk to? How are we gonna open this conversation right now?
I'll send a letter to the 3 of them, David.
But a letter, how
Chris.
about conversation and get this thing rolling immediately, not a letter that sits on somebody's desk and a week goes by, I haven't heard from them,
Alright,
let me
so
try again.
I
How
can
about
request-
tomorrow, we talk to somebody and get this moving?
I mean, I can request a meeting, but it didn't go well when you had the 2-inch line on High Street, and of course, that one had just been paved, but the steel line that they wouldn't let us
Yeah.
replace, so they'd rather have us put patches in.
Yeah, but this is a little bit different, especially if you can have an idea of, look, that piece of pipe, that them
It's-
putting in could save us a huge amount of money,
Right.
that, we gotta do this, take this
Are they putting
seriously.
12-inch, Wayne?
Yeah. Yeah, cause he's got a giant building he has to sprinkle.
Would that be huge to get that down?
Oh, yeah,
Lincoln
that would
Street?
be large. It's,
And again, it's not gonna cost them all that much more money to run it in the side of the road.
cause for the
If
most
he
part,
doesn't
he can be off to the edge. when
Who's
he
the
does it.
contractor, Wayne?
I don't know who he's gonna hire to do his digging or whatever.
Who is it that building the building?
I don't have his
Same
name.
guys
This
that
is
built
when
the-
you get this
Same
stuff
guys
done.
that built the one on Elm
It
Street,
is?
right? That's
Yeah,
the same
it's the
I
same
developer.
mean, the
company.
money they
Yeah.
spend, that's nothing to get them to run that 12-inch down
Right.
Lincoln Street.
No, but if they're gonna make them take that whole road
Oh,
out,
no,
repave it, yeah.
This is where the town needs to work together
Yeah,
for the common good.
well, if you wanna try to set up a meeting and let us know when it is, one of us can go with you.
Like
All right.
tomorrow, if
Yeah.
they're on final stages, they're gonna move on this thing, so
Alright.
you can't be a day late and a dollar short, you gotta get on it
I'll,
now.
Fire off an email first thing and request an immediate meeting.
Can you call Chris and tell him that, hey, we're looking to open a discussion here before things move forward too far?
Yeah, I
Like
can.
verbally tomorrow, so it's,
Yeah,
not somebody's on vacation, they didn't get the email for a week. Meanwhile, we're too late.
Well, quick, and they're still gonna have to vote to do it, approve doing it,
That's why we gotta get it going immediately.
and hopefully before that guy, well, didn't he already have his plans set up with the line going down the road though?
he did. Did-
So if like, it's not as if it would be a big deal for him to change it back.
Right.
It's just, you can't let him start putting it in and going up that way
Right.
until we can get this.
When's he looking to start, Wayne?
He wants to start right away. He's
What's right away? A week, a month?
like a month out, I believe, because I
We gotta
asked.
get on it tomorrow. Cause they're obviously drawing plans now.
Yeah, he is. I've been in contact with, because they're at least doing it right. When they extend the 12-inch up from west, they're gonna abandon the piece in between.
Yeah, Larry Silver's doing those plans, right?
Yeah, but I'm talking with somebody, Dimitri something, there's multiple people
Oh,
involved.
the kid at Stone Point or whatever that's called.
Yeah, it might be,
Yeah, he's up on Manley Street.
Oh, what's his,
It's
Strong.
Strong Point.
Strong
Strong
Point.
Point. Yeah.
I think I remember seeing his name on some of that stuff too.
He, the hell did he, he was, involved with that 40B next to Honeydew.
Okay.
Yeah, I think
he
so,
did
yeah,
the
'cause I've
site
heard the
engineering.
name.
I'm
Did
pretty
that
sure.
go away, or is that,
I don't know
I mean, it
why, I
went
thought that was
quiet.
gonna take off, that all got all approved and then nothing.
right, and then it went quiet.
I think he was the engineer for that, does that sound right? Al?
Yeah, cause
That sounds right. I think there was something,
Strong.
still something going on back and forth with the septic on that, though,
Yeah.
how the two sites, it's
Alright.
Yeah.
one site, but how
It involves Honeydew
Yeah,
for a reserve.
but
or something.
it was just stuff that had to be redone, but I don't remember ever seeing or hearing anything about it since.
Yeah, that'd be a smart move if we can maneuver that now and get that 12
And
inch.
yeah, if that's the only thing, is a moratorium on the paving, and the paving's.
It all takes is some
almost gonna come
communication
off.
and things can happen.
Yeah,
Communication's huge, you gotta communicate with these guys. It really should have been brought up at that meeting, just, I mean,
Yeah,
stand
but
your
you
ground.
But you gotta know what you're bringing up too, if you just kinda get blindsided by it, cause we
I
were
had no
told that they
idea,
was
as far as I
doing it.
knew, they were coming way down, and then we were gonna,
Yeah, you didn't find out it was changed until you got to the
no,
meeting.
I had no idea, so they didn't send me, I'm off the list for print, so they were supposed to be putting me back on the list.
But that's why they have these meetings, is to get all the information at that
Yeah, this
point.
is the first meeting that they've had, cause I think they had another one, but I wasn't on their included list.
I'd get right on it tomorrow.
I will.
Everybody involved, suck it up and make a phone call and let's get it rolling. That's huge.
Oh, I know it is.
Well, and especially we can justify it because we, not just, hey, the money if we wanted to do it, but now you've got that whole deal where you do have the pinch point
Right.
that's identified as something we need to be taken
That we've
care
been
of.
talking about being a
Right.
problem before this project even
Yeah.
came.
Yeah.
And now you got
it's-
one big project down that street where instead of a
It's
bunch of
gonna
little ones
actually-
trying to get it
It's
done.
gonna actually do it.
Yeah. Well, and it's for the other, because that's gonna have water, they're gonna need water and stuff when they get that stupid complex done, if they ever
Sports
do.
complex.
So they're gonna need more pipe going down there.
Who's that? Who's that at?
That whole sports complex that we
Oh,
bought
yeah,
Russo's for,
yeah.
Yeah.
to build an indoor basketball place and a bunch of fields.
Huh?
I think
Indoor
you're seeing
basketball?
more of this complex than is actually ever gonna happen. Right?
No, I don't think much of that's gonna happen, but it's gonna need water and it's gonna need,
It's gonna need
if
water.
they have that facility, it's gonna need fire protection.
Right.
I mean, that line is gonna help a hell of a lot, and we shouldn't be,
Especially that 40B that's,
Yeah.
on Scotland Street. That's
it's a lot.
huge. Plus, what, 6 or 7 more houses going in that?
Yeah, he's already, yeah, he's
Doing this?
running his lines now.
No, there's gonna be a ton in, we need.
We talked about this a long time ago, before this project even came up, that needed to get done.
Yeah.
This is the time to do it. We missed out on the center, that was horrible. Nothing got changed down there when they rebuilt that whole
Yeah.
center. All the old lines are there, not deep enough.
Yeah, if we ever have like a really hard winter,
Yeah,
they're
but,
just
but,
under the surface now.
but this is when these things need to get done, and it gets done easy.
Yes, just shoot us an email out after you
Yeah.
get a hold of them and find out what's going on, and we'll
Yeah.
see who.
Tomorrow, let us know what
Yeah,
they say. If
we'll
we're
see
gonna
who
have an
can make it,
immediate
if we can
meeting,
have a meeting.
find out who to get in touch with for the engineering, tell them, hey, we're looking at this, put the brakes on.
Yep.
This is what we're looking, we had a meeting, the commissioners want this.
Right.
Well, 2 do, and I assume 3.
Yeah.
No, I don't think Rick would argue about
No,
that.
he
but
wouldn't.
And Rick was trying to figure out how to get him to go all the way down,
Right.
which is a little bit of a
Maybe
stretch.
we can.
Uh,
Well, they're gonna owe us big fees for that sprinkler line. Let's make a deal.
No, you gotta be careful how you screw around with the fees like that though, too.
There is no set fee.
No, for that,
Well,
it's,
that's right, that's so big,
right.
that's right.
It's beyond, it goes back to like Calvert's, and I have to go back through the.
You see
boxes
this stuff
upstairs.
get done in other towns, why can't we do it? Why don't we get some of this stuff done? Projects go in and these contractors are doing all these improvements and,
Right.
stuff goes on here and we don't seem to get it done. let's get on it. That's, all it takes is some communication, and it'll happen easy. It can happen easy, maybe, I don't know. We'll see.
Easy might be,
Well,
I mean, I can
Well,
see
let's
if,
put it
I
this way,
can
well,
see
you-
if the road had been paved a year ago or two.
Right, exactly.
But it's not that new.
No, it's, I wanna say it's at its 5-year point, because the other, how, the new houses that went in couldn't do it because of the moratorium, and at that point, it was like 2 or 3 years into
Yeah,
it.
and those have been there a couple of years.
Yeah,
those new houses.
The ones further
I've been
down.
there more than, oh, at the
Yeah.
end, those have been a couple of years.
yeah,
And what, they wouldn't let them tap the line?
yep,
Oh, really?
Yeah, 'cause they ran everything in the side.
right, yep.
Oh, they tapped into town water?
No, they have wells.
They have wells, yeah.
No, but they, like, because they did to, like a multiple septic, they ran that stuff in the side off the road. They weren't able to go. They had
Oh,
to- they had
they're,
to keep
oh, they're a
every-
shared septic?
Couple of them.
Oh, I didn't know that. Alright,
But yeah, that's all. I remember they couldn't go in, that was one of the issues, is they had to stay out of the road
Yep,
with those. So,
see what happens. All you can do is
but
try.
of course, we can't vote on it, so you can, that was all a lot of discussion that we can act on as.
well, it was supposed to have been on the agenda, but somehow it,
There's nothing to vote on now anyway, we're just
no,
having a
it's
discussion.
just trying to get the discussion going on to get it back on track.
Yeah, we'd like to get that in.
Can we get this on the agenda for next meeting too?
Yep,
Alright. Did Kerry leave?
yeah, she had to, get somebody somewhere.
What's our, next meeting?
20th, I think.
Yeah, it's the 20th. No, there used to be a calendar. Yeah, it's the 20th.
That's not a Monday holiday that we have to move it to something. That's the one that confuses me all the time, is which days,
Yeah,
what do they have?
yeah, no, there's no holidays.
Alright, anybody got anything else?
No, that's it.
Motion to adjourn?
Second?